Hey there, everyone. This is Sean, and welcome to Questioning Money, a newsletter taking a closer look at how money works and how it affects the world around us. Today, I'm going to do a deep dive into our institutions. A lot of us have noticed that our institutions seem to be failing us, and that they're breaking down and not working correctly. When we talk about why our institutions are failing, however, the conversations always seem to go back to the same tired left versus right dynamics, and I don't think that's the reason why our institutions are starting to fail. In my opinion, the real reasons is that institutions don't scale. So what does it mean when I say that something doesn't scale? It means that as something like an institution or a business gets bigger in size, it becomes harder to make decisions, change directions, adapt, and operate efficiently. So, for example, let's say that a small local pizza shop wanted to add calzones to their menu. Since the pizza shop is just one business and not a franchise, with one primary owner who makes the decisions, that pizza shop could add calzones to its menu in a day. If the owner wanted, the decision could be made immediately without much thought. Now, what about if Domino's wanted to add calzones to its menu? Now it's a much more difficult process to get them added. For a giant company like Domino's, a proposal such as adding something new to the menu would need to go through countless rounds of discussion, voting, testing, and so much more before that decision could be made. It would probably take months, if not longer, from the idea's inception for calzones to actually get to the menu. So we can already see how small businesses can adapt and change more quickly and efficiently than a larger business, right? Well, now let's think about how the government operates. The US government is essentially like a big business when it comes to decision making. In fact, it's the largest business of all, larger than Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. That alone presents difficulty when it comes to making changes to an institution or a program. It's not just the size that's the problem with change in government institutions, though. It's the fact that for any change to a government program or institution to occur, there has to be committees or votes in Congress and review boards and incredible amounts of bureaucratic red tape that naturally happens within governments as a result of making sure that taxpayer money is being used properly. It's so much more difficult for a government institution or program to adapt to a changing world than it is even for a megacorporation. We often hear that private companies and markets are more efficient than government ones, and people give a lot of different reasons for that. For me, though, it's really about the ability to adapt and to change. You could probably make a government program today that works as well today compared to many private solutions, but 15 years from now, that government program is still going to be stuck in today, and it's not going to be able to easily change alongside the world. And that's the problem with most of our institutions today. They were built decades ago at a different time in America, and not only do they not function properly today, but our institutions have grown into these massive, messy, jumbled things that are too big and that don't have the ability to adapt to a changing world. So to me, this is a big reason why private, market-driven solutions work better than something like a new government program, except in cases where free markets just don't have any solutions. A good example being like a bus route in a poor neighborhood that might not be profitable for a private company to do. That's a good example of a government solution. But we shouldn't be looking for any opportunity to add new government institutions because of this issue of scale. There's just too much bureaucracy, too much review that needs to be done, too much red tape, too much partisanship, and the size of our government and our government institutions continues to grow, which means that these problems are only going to get worse, and it's going to be even harder for our institutions to adapt to the way that the world is constantly changing. And that's what I wanted to cover here in this issue of Questioning Money. The problem that a lot of government institutions have is not that, oh, government bad. The real problem is that government institutions can't adapt by nature, and they can't scale, and that's why so many of our old institutions are failing today. So that's all for this issue of Questioning Money. If you like the newsletter, please subscribe to get it sent directly to your inbox every Monday. You can find me on Twitter @SeanCover, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.